I'm going to read this quotation, Frank, and I want you to tell me who said it.
Was it Mark Twain?
Yeah, come on.
Was
Okay,
it?
Okay, no guesses beforehand. Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth all one's lifetime. Okay, Frank, who do you think said that?
I'm trying to think. I am going to say Gallagher?
It was Mark Twain.
Oh, Mark Twain!
Yeah. So, when I hear this quotation, is it quote or quotation? I would take marks off in the early 2000s on a kid who put quote, and now I feel weird saying quotation.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not taking marks off.
Okay, well, we're gonna use quote as a noun. It's quote, and this sounds like things that rich people would say.
Yeah, it's one of those memes where there's a wine mom saying just like, I love travel, like, that kind of thing. It's like, travel opens my soul.
I was just thinking because it was just March break, week off of school for me, and a lot of people went away, and what broke open for me wasn't my worldview, but the boiler in my basement.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So this quote has been used to describe the song Rome by the B-52’s.
Yeah, that's I think we looked at the same quote, which is why I knew it was Mark Twain before you said it. Right. The quote.
Did we also watch the same video where the guy read it to Cindy Wilson?
No.
She's like, yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. Yeah. So it's I will use this as well. Thank you, YouTuber.
Yeah. The site that I read said Rome is the musical equivalent of that quote. A call to go out and see the world. B-52’s Rome, big song off of their biggest album, Cosmic Thing from 1989? 89, yeah.
Yep, 1989. And of course, the big song that, even though both of these songs, the two major singles, both ranked the same on Billboard, Love Shack is the one that is remembered the most because, as Fred Schneider said, this is the song you're going to hear at bar mitzvahs and weddings for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's true. Retro nights at the clubs and all that other sort of fun stuff. Yeah, when you think B-52’s, you're automatically thinking Love Shack and Rock Lobster, which is Rock Lobster is a little bit ridiculous, but that was all the way back in 1978 too.
It's way back. That's the first thing, one of the first things they wrote.
Yeah, but Rome is kind of the forgotten child of the big hits that they had, right?
Yeah, and you chose Rome. This was your choice to do this song. So why Rome, Frank?
I just really like travel, and I think that it opens up my soul. And this song is about opening up my soul and traveling.
I'm amazed you became a wine mom so quickly.
I know, right? No, I think because it is kind of that forgotten song from them. And I remember when this came out, I was listening to the radio at night when I went to sleep and everything. And, I knew Love Shack, and in 89, I would have been 12. So I was I still am really immature, but, Love Shack had that, that sort of the innuendo that went along with it. And I remember kind of giggling and feeling like, he's like, I'm listening to something a little bit naughty maybe. Right. But then Rome came out, and the interplay of the vocals, I just love even back then, I loved the way Kate Pearson and Cindy Wilson sounded together on the song. And then just understanding that it was the same band, and it just seemed like such a fun song from a fun band.
And it made the band seem less like a novelty act.
Yeah, because this is one of the few songs when Fred Schneider isn't sort of taking the lead on, right?
Yeah.
It's exactly that. It doesn't seem like a novelty.
Yeah. So here at Bill and Frank's Guilt-Free Pleasures, we cast a wide net on what we refer to as a guilt-free pleasure.
Yeah.
So this one, in terms of where this net is landing, this could be where we would say a type of song you wouldn't remember maybe unless someone mentioned it to you. But as soon as you heard it, you would know the song.
Yeah.
And you could sing along to it.
Yeah.
Take it hip to hip, rock it through the wilderness. Around the world, the trip begins with a kiss. Roam if you want to.
Let's go through the song history a bit. We could talk about the B-52's history as well. Well, that'll come out of the song history.
Yeah, I think
Maybe.
so. Well, let's talk about the band a little bit, right?
Okay.
Because they started in Athens, Georgia, in the 70s, and they're primarily known as a new wave band, right? So
Yeah.
and they're coming up in an era where they're in Georgia, like they really don't fit in. They're kind of like artsy, fun, like party band, right? And I guess when they started, they just like would go and play at parties, and that was it. And then they got a bit of a movement in their own hometown and everything, and then sort of branched out from there. But yeah, they were just out having fun. They all knew each other. Cindy and her brother Ricky are two of the founding members, and then everyone kind of knew each other from high school and art school or whatever. So they just sort of came together and like just started jamming, right?
Yeah, and that was it. I mean, so I guess they got together and they drank something called a flaming volcano.
Okay.
And so it involves I think it involves like a big bowl that you all drink out of.
Okay.
And it's like mixed with lots of different liquor and it's super strong.
Yeah.
And so, but
It sounds terrible.
yeah. But out of that experience, they started jamming together. And that's where the B-52's were born.
Yeah.
And apparently the name of the band came in a dream to Keith Strickland, who became the guitar player later.
Yeah.
But he was drummer then. And he had a dream where someone whispered in his ear, "You're the B-52's,"
Yeah.
which had to do with the hairstyle of the two women in the band.
Yeah, the wigs that they wear.
So it turns out that 3 of them are from Athens, Georgia, and then Fred Schneider and Kate Pearson are actually from New Jersey initially.
Oh, okay.
And then
yeah.
moved down.
Yeah, okay.
So, but from there, I mean, things took off. College
Yeah.
radio loved them, and Australia loved them.
Yeah. So they were an indie band, right?
Yep.
Like they were college radio friendly, and that was about it. I think probably up until this album came out. So for the first, I think they started, they came together in 74 or something like that.
Yeah.
So for 15 years, they were just a college radio band, and kind of working odd job or side jobs and whatnot.
Yeah.
Until they this album
This album blew up.
yeah.
I mean, they had this big success in terms of their live show. So I watched a video that was in Rio.
Mm-hmm.
They did band in Rio, and that was the guitarist last show, Ricky
Wilson. Yep.
And there's tons of people. Like, It's just huge. And so watching them live is incredible. I kind of was sort of dismissive of them. And when you said Rome, I'm like, oh, I like that song. But the more I dove into the band, I'm like, holy cow, this is great.
Yeah. And when you listen to the song too, because it's just Kate Pearson and Cindy Wilson singing, but they do not hold back on the lyrics. They're just really giving it. Every single line, every single word, they're really sort of driving it home, and you can hear the fun that they're having with the song, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have diverging sort of ideas of what the song is about, but despite the subject matter that I read that the song is about, they're having a good time with it, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so in terms of the history of the song, this comes out of a poem written by Robert Waldrop, which is a friend of the band.
Yeah.
He brought them. It's just a poem, not a song. He gave them a poem. And Kate Pearson and Cindy Wilson, they constructed vocal arrangements around this and added parts to it. So that opening line, I hear a wind, whistling air, whispering in my ear. They made that up for the song.
Oh, okay.
From an interview I watched.
I hear a wind whistling air, whispering in my ear.
It's interesting to think about what this poem would have looked like initially.
Yeah.
And just on the side, Robert Waldrop was interviewed, and he talked about Cosmic Thing being this healing experience for them.
Yeah.
And he talked about this being like a New Orleans style wake funeral, where there's this sort of joyfulness that comes with it playing music. And so just to just kind of state that this album comes out of sort of years of grief over the death of the guitarist, Ricky Wilson, who's the brother of
Cindy.
Yeah. And he passed away from complications from AIDS.
Yeah.
And so this is, of course, that was in, I think, 85.
85, yeah.
And I mean, back then, AIDS was a whole other thing. It was kind of a muted subject, I think. At least we grew up in the midst of it. It was still kind of confusing to us.
Yeah, it wasn't, it definitely wasn't widely understood, that's for sure. But yeah, this is right in the middle of like Reagan America, right? There is definitely a negative stigma about it.
Oh, yeah.
And the people that got it were obviously stigmatized because of that. But
the B-52’s took a stand, though, in terms of they did this thing that looked like Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club, where they did an awareness, I think, infomercial or something, or it wasn't that, it was like a commercial or something for awareness. They fundraised a ton of money, so they were able to channel their grief into this amazing thing.
Yeah.
Which is Cosmic Thing, which is a fantastic album.
Yeah.
But this song, incredible. So Robert Waldrop, friend of the band, who'd written songs before, even from their first album,
and he did the artwork for Cosmic Thing and did he do it for Cosmic Thing but he did the album previous to this one anyways.
Yeah, he did. So this poem comes in, and we have them doing their vocal arrangements to it. But I think we need to talk about the song.
Yeah,
the lyrics. And so, all right. So when I was reading through the lyrics before I even looked at fan theories, I'm like, I don't think they're talking about travel. I don't think this is about traveling. I was thinking this might be a type of traveling that might have gone on in the Love Shack, but it certainly doesn't sound like he's talking about traveling the world, unless the world is a euphemism for something. Yeah. Like a body.
Well, that's the fan theories are definitely very sexually explicit in nature. Now, 12-year-old me, when I heard this, and first of all, when I heard Rome, I thought it was about the city Rome.
Right.
Again, but then understanding it's like, no, it's Rome as in roaming. Right. And I can understand like the roaming hands and all that other sort of stuff. There was I did read somewhere that I forget where it was. Anyways, they were saying that it's about wanderlust and have a very zen sort of feel about it. So not that it gives much credence to that theme necessarily. It was just kind of a one-off. But then there was an article or an interview that Cindy Wilson gave.
Yeah.
And I'll just read it here. Years later, Wilson revealed the deep hidden meaning, a phrase Rogers would popularize in his hit-making philosophy behind Rome, suggesting it was actually a song not about traveling from place to place, but the mysteries of loss. Rome has many meanings, but it's a beautiful song about death. It's about when your spirit leaves your body and you can just roam. So that came from Cindy Wilson. So I'm going to give that a little bit more credit than fan theories. And I also read somewhere that the band has heard those fan theories, but have never really openly talked about that as the theme of the song.
Well, all right. Well, listen, I'm sorry, Cindy, but I have an English degree, so we know how to read these things, and I just I can't see
12-year-old Frank wants to believe that this is a song about travel, and wine moms everywhere also want to believe that.
Yeah, I just gotta say that it might be a song about making out, but maybe the innuendo in it is instead of an innuendo song, like a song about traveling where the innuendo is about, the activity between lovers. Yeah. Instead, I think it's a song about the activity between lovers, but maybe the innuendo is travel. So I will give you that. But either way, it's fun. This
Yeah.
is about the joy. So it's not like,
What's a joyful song?
yeah. So even if it's, I think that to me when I read it, I'm like, oh no, this sounds like this is about lovers, but it's not like it's not a naughty song.
Yeah.
Even though I saw fan theories like, oh, it's very dirty. This is not a dirty song.
No,
but
no,
it's
no,
a
no.
song full of joy and fun.
Yeah.
And I think the life that the song has taken. So I think the poem might be about one thing, but what they did with the song is they made us all feel it was about traveling.
Yeah.
And it is about traveling as the song has taken on a life of its own. So whatever the lyrics point out to you. Now, of course, in the video, there's definitely some
there's
hints.
definitely some imagery.
I don't know what you
like
think a donut and a banana means, Frank, but
Yeah, it's because it had been such a long time since I saw the video, so when I rewatched it for this episode, just like, did that banana just fly through a bagel?
yeah.
Like, I wonder what that means.
So exactly. I'm sure it's just about traveling, Frank. You're 12-year-old Frank. Don't you worry about that.
Fly the great big sky, see the great big sea, kick through continents, busting boundaries, take it hip to hip, rock it through the wilderness, around the world.
The lyrics aren't the thing that brings me back to the song.
No.
Like I also thought it was about Rome and Italy too, because
Yeah.
I was also 12 because we're the same age when I heard
Yeah.
it. Like, oh, cool! I'd love to go to Rome.
Yeah.
It's those vocals
Yeah.
and that arrangement. What they're doing is incredible.
Well, early on, so the first verse with and it's Kate Pearson doing the first verse. The boy Mercury shooting through every degree. Oh, girl dancing down those dirty and dusty trails. Sorry, I cannot read, but like she's singing, but then there's like she gets really like low with the voice, and it's just. I've said this a couple of times, but it's not guttural, but there's a very sort of like soulful, powerful intonation in her voice. And then in the second verse, like Cindy Wilson does the same thing. You can hear her singing, but then it's just like
There's a guttural thing going on. Yeah.
and it's powerful, and it makes the song just really pop, which is awesome.
When she hits the word sunset, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just so fun. And that I can't help because we're part of that MTV in Canada Much Music generation.
Yeah.
Where I see that video and I see the joy on both of their faces, right? When they're doing their
Yeah,
thing.
because they're having so much fun, and that's what the band was always about too,
Yeah.
right? Was just they were a fun party band,
Yeah.
and you could exactly. You could see the smiles on the faces and everything, and
Yeah.
they just they looked like they were having a blast, right?
So I mean that's where for me is that combination of vocals and when you try to figure out who's singing,
Yeah,
it changes because I was reading an interview with Kate Pearson, and she talks about their vocals. And I was trying to figure out where these vocals are coming from. So part of me was thinking this feels like Beach Blanket Bingo or something from the 60s, and it also feels like something about some of those 80s bands that I was thinking like Go-Go's and stuff, but
Yeah,
it
oh,
wasn't.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But then there's something else to they're so confident.
Yeah.
And they're so polished as well without seeming polished.
yeah,
So she says the inspiration for our vocal harmonies was sort of Appalachian.
yeah.
It's sort of at weird intervals, and it almost has an Appalachian kind of feel to it. The harmonies are really spontaneous. And the way we jammed, we would just get into a trance, almost like automatic writing. This collective unconscious would take over, and sometimes we'd be singing all at once. We'd listen back to the tape and seek out the best parts and patch them together. The way they created songs was crazy as well. Like they would spend a ton of time just jamming. And so these harmonies are also a natural thing that's happening as they kind of get into the space of the song.
Well, I mean, this is a band that has been together. I think they're kind of retired now, but like in the early 90s, Cindy Wilson left the band for a brief period of time. But this is a band that had been together for almost 20 years. So there's like this, and kind of like on a low end scale too, right? Until this album comes out and they kind of blow up because of these two big songs. But you know, you could feel that they played off of each other very, very well, and they just kind of like you said, they just jammed, and then they pick the songs apart and pick the best pieces. Yeah. And there's you have to have a familiarity with your band and have trust with them to make that work. I don't know. I've never been in a band, but I like to think that that's what happens.
Well, in terms of this song, she says that she might be doing the high part, and then Cindy would do the low part, and then we'd switch it. And she said, and particularly on Rome, we crossed over in the highs and lows.
Oh, okay.
And that's what makes it so fun, where I'm like, okay, who's doing this? Like, I know the first verse is Kate. Yeah. The second verse is Cindy. I think the third verse is Kate.
Yeah, I don't know. At that point, I kind of lose track.
I got to go back to the video to see who's singing. But the key, of course, is in the chorus. Yeah. And my favorite part, I think, there's so many. I always have multiple, but when they say Rome, if you want to, like that was a terrible version of, let me try that again. Rome, if you want to. I don't know.
We'll play the song. How about that?
Yeah.
Rome, if you want to roam around the world. Rome, if you want to, without anything but the love we feel.
When they say Rome, they actually pronounce it with the A. Rome.
Yeah. Okay.
I just love the sound. I love how they pronounce the words. I love how they flow them together. And I love when they just decide to move their voices up and down at will.
Yeah. I'm going to talk just one more little thing about the video and why the song really works is, again, like Fred Schneider's not involved in the lyrics at all. But you watch the video and he's the hammiest one in the video because it's just them in front of like a green screen with shots of like stock footage shots from around the world in the background. And then of course, bananas flying through bagels or donuts or whatever it is. But like Fred Schneider's just like, there's no subtlety to what he's doing. He's just like, he's just being a goof on in the video, which is fantastic.
And I mean, the guitar sound is really particular to the band, especially that early Ricky Wilson guitar, which is only 4 strings and really odd ways of tuning it. He had a really unique way of tuning that no one else was really doing. And then Keith Strickland, when he took over guitar for this album, learned it, spent those 2 years just learning it. He's bringing something really interesting in that guitar work.
I find it very reminiscent of REM.
Right. I wonder if there's an Athens sound.
Well, yeah, that's what I was wondering because they must have hung out together at some point or another, right?
They're buddies. I mean, we know that she's saying on Shiny Happy People.
Yeah, exactly.
The next single, which was called Deadbeat Club, Michael Stipe is in it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So, and they actually they were recording this at the same time that Green was being recorded because they did. Yeah. So REM had joined Warner Brothers through recommendations from B-52. So there's definitely crossover of them hanging out.
Yeah.
But the sounds of like that guitar opening with those drums coming in. And then later on, there's these hand claps that just add to it.
Rome, if you want to, without anything but the love we feel.
So shout out to the producer, Nile Rodgers of Chic.
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
I mean, they had the two most premier producers for, to me, this type of stuff in the 80s.
Yeah.
For the Nile Rodgers, who is just a...
He was
got
a hit maker.
Hit maker, he's just gold.
He's touring with Duran Duran this summer.
Oh, okay. Well, let's make that happen.
Yeah.
And then they had Don Was for 4 other songs. So is it Was or not Was? Was not Was.
Was not was. Was not was. Well, not. That's a song we're doing later,
we're
right?
doing Walk the Dinosaur.
Yeah.
We are definitely.
I think this is at least the 8th time we've referenced that song.
It's happening.
Yeah. So what would you say is your favorite part of the song then? Was it the
Rome If You Want
Yeah,
to.
okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Sorry.
How about yours?
There's a lot of little subtle things that I really like. I love the guitar work in the song. But at the end, when they're just doing the ending when they keep repeating take it to the hip, rock it through the wilderness. Right near the end, there's in the background even, there's at the 3:35 mark, I think it is, there's this scream.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of yas in the background. And I just love the way that plays with the song. It just seems, like I said, it just seems so fun.
Yeah, they control that scream so well that and then in the video it goes. We might have to talk about that video in a moment here, but that's a good. I have that written down somewhere here. The controlled roar I have written down on my page.
Yeah.
Oh, it was good. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Rocking through the wilderness. Take it hip to hip, rocking through the wilderness.
So the video is one of the great examples of green screen use of that era.
Yeah.
So they're in front of the green screen, but you as a viewer know they're in front of the green screen. They do.
Yeah.
And they're playing with it where they're hamming it up, they're running around.
Yeah.
I do wonder about what this feels like 30 years later, where you're like, I don't know about the agency of the people that you're putting in these videos from like the classic, what seemed like National Geographic, where you're looking at the exotic other.
Yeah.
Which is also the criticism of travel from Canada, America travel.
Yeah.
We're like, we're going around the world. We're going to see cultures. It's like you're just taking in these cultures, but you're also using them as your own props.
Yeah.
And it's only gotten worse, possibly with the Instagram world. But in some ways, it's so kitschy.
It doesn't seem exploitive necessarily.
No, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, I mean, I don't want to speak for the band back in '89, but I think they may have been already cognizant of that. It's like let's pick stuff that like it's kind of out there and it's kind of a little bit ridiculous, and it just because it works with the band, right?
Yeah. Here's a word they use for the style of the band: thrift store chic.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense.
And there's always that 5% of the world. And within your friendship group, there's those people, Chris Newkirk, who just kind of get it. They just naturally have style.
Yeah.
And to me, this band is one of them where it's like, okay, whatever you pick to wear just works.
Yeah.
And so I don't despise those people. I want those people to take me shopping.
I'm a little envious of them that they can just make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here I am like trying to have style, and it's never worked. I categorize my style as ultra lame.
Yeah. Well, what we need are B-52’s to hang out with us.
Yeah, I think so.
B-52’s bring so much, I'd just say color to the world.
Yeah.
In terms of, and so when I think about the music, I think about just multicolors, like a world of Technicolor. And I've been working through albums. The one before, it got criticized. I read a Rolling Stone article that was really dismissive of their previous albums. But they had a song on there. It's called The Girl from Ipanema Goes to Greenland. And it's fantastic. And it's so cool.
Yeah.
And I'm just realizing, like, all right, I just want to hang out with these people.
Yeah.
These people are just, they're on a wavelength that I'm not on, but I want to be around.
Well, I think Kate Pearson, I think it's in upstate New York. She has a cottage type hotel with her partner.
Yeah.
And and I saw this interview with her, and it was from a couple of years ago, and she's in her 70s, and she's still just rocking bright red hair, and and has that complete aesthetic about her. But like I was watching this interview, and she's walking around like her property and like with all these cottages and all this other sort of stuff, and thinking like, I'd like to go there. Like, you know, I'd go there and probably bug her and fanboy her a bit or something like that. And she'd probably be really annoyed with it. And, you know, I'd tell her about this podcast and she'd listen and tell us how we got everything completely wrong and all of that. But watching it, she felt accessible in the sense that just like, you know what, she'd probably sit down and have a drink with us.
Perfect. And take a thrift store shopping.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So, yeah, all right. Well, that'll be included on our road trip when we roam around. We're going to hit walking to Memphis. We're also going to go to the Catskills, where she's living right now.
Is the Catskills in upstate New York?
Oh, man. Why
I'm
you gotta
really
call me
terrible
out?
with geography.
I'm just going to I just call everything the Catskills.
Yeah.
All right. Time to go to categories?
Yeah, let's hit some categories up. So what do you want? Mixtape? I usually go first on mixtape, and I feel bad that I might be stealing some of your stuff.
I always have tons.
Oh, okay. Does that mean you want me to go?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So yeah, my mixtape, there's a couple of obvious one, or there's one really obvious one. And that's just the relationship between the B-52’s and REM. So that would be Shiny Happy People.
Yeah.
It has a very similar feel to it, I find. Another song that came out in around the same time, but also had a similar sort of retro vibe that the B-52’s had, because with the big like bouffant, like beehive wigs and the retro clothes that they wore, Delights, Groove is in the Heart.
Oh, good call.
And then I probably end it with something like we had mentioned, the Go-Go's. Our Lips Are Sealed.
Okay, that's good. I had that down too, but I also had another one in capitals from the Go-Go's.
Okay.
They have a song called Vacation.
Yes. Oh.
So I was thinking that would go with Rome.
Yeah.
The Venus Bananarama.
Yeah. Okay.
By Bananarama, their version of Venus.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking that just because Bananarama also has this sort of they don't care vibe going on, which I feel like
when your band name is Bananarama, you kind of have to have that vibe, right?
The B-52’s have that too, but they don't seem to be as angry about it. They just don't care, and they're like, we don't need to fit, and it's like the whole thing is we don't fit. They seem so alien, and it's fair enough because they love that sort of sci-fi schlock stuff.
Yeah.
So Fred Schneider was a big vinyl collector, and they would listen to all these like out there music, but especially those like sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
And so I picked just speaking of out there, like out of time, I was thinking Annette Funicello from Beach Blanket Bingo.
Yeah.
Not Beach Blanket Bingo, but Pineapple Princess, which is just of
Okay.
that era.
Gotcha.
And I feel like there's a 60s vibe going on.
Yeah.
But they don't fit anywhere.
No,
really.
they don't. Yeah.
To quote an REM album, they're out of time.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say they're Shiny Happy People.
That's a good one too. I want more B-52’s in my life. I've been missing out on this, so I'm going to keep going back to the well here.
Yeah. No, I want to dig into their sort of deeper catalog here and get like understand, like listen to more and more of their stuff, right? So
now here's the problem: is because they're so unique. Can you imagine anyone being able to cover any of their songs? Let alone, especially Rome, though.
Rome?
Who could cover this?
I don't think it's going to be a surprise when I tell our listeners who I think should
Carly
cover.
Rae Jepsen.
I was going to say Michael Bolton, but yes, no, Carly Rae Jepsen
And Michael Bolton together.
and Michael Bolton.
I don't know.
Well, he could be in the video like Fred Schneider,
Right,
just
okay.
hamming it up on the screen, right? But
Yeah.
no, I think Carly Rae Jepsen actually, and you know my own personal biases aside and all that, but I think that she kind of also fits that. Because she doesn't really care. Like she's her own person and she does what she wants and she has fun with it, right?
She would need someone with her, though, wouldn't she? Or is she going to do it?
Oh, I'm wondering who I would pick to harmonize with her. Be a tough one.
Yeah, well, we'll need.
But I think
somebody.
she could do it solo too.
Yeah, I just don't know if she. It's just like I think if she could try it, but then I think it would make people angry. sometimes a cover's done and it drives you back to the original.
Yeah.
Sort of like whenever someone covers Hallelujah
Yeah.
on
Well,
one
except
of those
for like
idols.
maybe Jeff Buckley, right? But,
Yeah. Well, he gets his pass. So yeah. So okay. So Carly Rae Jepsen with a Jeff Buckley sound alike. So, okay. Yeah. We don't want to talk about Michael Bolton.
No, I don't think
yeah,
Michael Bolton
no.
could do this. I think Chris Newkirk loves this
Yeah.
song.
We don't need to even ask.
Yeah, we don't
Of
need
course
to
he
ask.
loves it.
Chris, we're speaking on your behalf. You love this song.
Yeah. Party song. This would go. In a wedding, I think you have to play Love Shack.
Yeah.
So I feel this would be a great one to play at like a house party. You're having people over, and
Yeah.
you just put this on, and people would be like, "This is such a good song."
Yeah.
I didn't know it.
Yeah. I agree.
Would you sing this at karaoke?
Do I have Carly Rae Jepsen harmonizing
No,
with me?
you and me karaoke.
Oh man, we're gonna get so many people angry at us when
Yeah.
we try.
Well, we always got people did threaten us when we did Endless Love.
That's true. Yeah. I would try it, but I wouldn't do a good job.
Okay. Could this be a Hallmark movie?
Well, it depends on what the meaning of the movie is. Is
Yours
it,
is a Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
Mine is a blue one.
yeah.
Okay.
Hallmark After Dark.
Hallmark After Dark.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. This would definitely work at a talent show in elementary school. I just think I could just see people singing and jumping
Yeah.
up and down to this. This would be a great jump rope for heart song.
Yeah.
To quote something that's a local
Yeah.
thing from
exactly.
the mid 80s.
So the people in the Niagara region who grew up around our era really know what we're talking about. The rest of the world, you can figure it out. I know this is coming at the end of the episode, but I really wanted to dedicate this episode or this song particularly to two people. The first people would be wine moms everywhere. And secondly, our friend Jeremy. Jeremy, who loves the B-52’s.
Really?
Yeah, no, he hates the B-52’s. He hates the B-52’s, Milhouse from The Simpsons, and Tweety. So whenever it's his birthday, I usually send him a video of one, if not all of those people, or all of those things. But I still really think that Jeremy could benefit from listening to this episode and appreciating Rome for what it is.
Yeah, because it's a great song.
It's a fantastic
I don't know
song.
what your problem is, Jeremy.
Yeah, Jared, what's your problem, man?
Okay. Well, if you have a request, you always can send it out to us.
Yeah.
Not just you, Jeremy, but you listeners.
Yes.
And if you hate a song, you could tell us, and we might just do it,
Yeah.
and then just call you out on it.
Yeah, a lot of the things we do on this podcast are done out of spite.
This song has no spite in it.
No.
And this is what I love about the B-52’s is there isn't any trace of meanness
No.
in anything they do.
Yeah.
And I want that to be part of my life.
Yeah.
I just want to be kind. Like it's not just kind, but they're fun. So I feel like if I were to show up at a party and the B-52’s would be there, they would welcome me because no matter how weird I feel, they'd
Yeah.
say, weird is good. You belong. And so B-52’s, I'm ready to go to one of your parties.
Yes, absolutely.
And so if you're feeling like us, we are always a bit different.
Odd?
Yeah, odd, weird. But you know what? It's going to come around for you. And so with the B-52’s, they might have had a bad stretch there. I don't think they did, but whatever, Rolling Stone. They had their cosmic thing. You're going to have yours too. And in the meantime, you can roam if you want to.
You can roam around the world.